With this text, a question about a triangle, investigating the sum of the medians of a triangle leads to other investigations. I view it as a cause and effect text frame. Mainly because as I start to read this, it begins by talking about a majority of participants had extensive experience teaching math in middle school and high school. The discussion here evolved around one of the questions assigned for homework. Compare the sum of the medians of a triangle with the triangle's perimeter. So when you're asking a question like that, although it may seem like it's supposed to be a problem that you're trying to solve, you're really looking for a relationship. You're looking not for a single solution, but you're trying to see how these two things interact with each other, the perimeter and the median. So the question was purposely formulated in this most general way, again, trying to get to the point of they're not looking for a single answer, they're looking for a relationship. And what's causing the relationship? How is it being developed? So the text goes on to say, at the beginning of the course, I had strongly recommended that considerations of every problem or question should start with drawing a clear, good-sized diagram. That makes sense because as you're looking for relationships, if you don't have clear drawings, it's going to lead you in wrong and bad directions. So it's no surprise that when the time came to discuss the question at the next class, everyone had prepared a diagram similar to this one that's being shown on the next page. And with this picture, what I find interesting about it is if this is the sort of picture that most of the teachers were drawing, it's not what a mathematician would consider a prototypical triangle, meaning that it doesn't have the base flat at the bottom and then a point at the top. It's sort of oriented in a different position. And so I think by doing that, it actually leads you to a different way of thinking about the problem where again, you're focusing on relationships, not specific aspects of the triangle. You're not trying to force it into a single situation. So as the participants apparently looked at this diagram, they were able to come up with some inequalities based on a very fundamental principle of triangles, that if you take one side of a triangle, it will always be smaller than the sum of the other two sides. And so they use that to, again, try to form some sort of relationship. And again, the key here, as you read this, they're saying, or it says in the text, that the median is less than one of the sides plus another side divided by 2. The inequality sign that's part of the text is again an indicator that it's a cause and effect, it's a relationship, it's a how things are working with each other. It's not an equal to, it's not a you have to tell me what this is. It's how are these two things related to each other. So again, that leads me to believe that this is a cause and effect framework. So they go on and they do some very typical algebra, doing some combining like terms, and they find that the sum of the medians is less than 3/2 of the perimeter. So when I read that text, I think, all right, medians to me, if I look at the word median outside of the context of mathematics, median means middle, and so does that statement make sense to me? The sum of the middle portions of a triangle less than 3/2 the perimeter, in other words, the entire outside. So as I'm reading that, I'm thinking, does that make internal sense? Does that make sense that the middle portions should be, first of all, less than the perimeter, and in particular, is it less than 3/2 the perimeter?